that were mapped. Also, DNR Greenway was extremely helpful for their parcels, as was DEP. So I really appreciate all their help. Specifically, I just want to give a shout out to Jess Stahl, who helped with the postcard. It was her brainstorm to work the graphics, otherwise we probably would still be working on that. Also, Kevin Everly, he was, again, we would still be working because he kicked out or generated the QR code in a matter of minutes, as well as helping with tonight's presentation. And then also Diana Garibaldi from the Environmental Commission. She gave me a reality check when she went out and drove to all the locations and kind of let me know that she couldn't find a lot of them, so which I kind of knew myself, but it was nice to have that reality check. So that forced my husband and I to go back out and do the mileage from the various intersections, which I figured we needed. So I wanted to thank all of them, and specifically I want to thank my esteemed colleagues on the grant subcommittee, Roz and Steve. Without them and their hard work and motivation, it really helped sustain me through this last year and a half. So now I'd like to kick into the presentation, and I want to first show you, hot off the presses, this is the postcard that will be getting mailed out to all of the township residents later this week. So this is the announcement to the public, or the residents, on the website. And if you will notice on the back of the card, it has the QR code as well as the website link. Of course, the QR code will take you directly to the website, to the web page. The link takes you to the web page, and then you have to click on the button. And to now unveil the website and show you what you do when you get your postcard, what you're going to see when you do the click, I want to turn the podium over to Roz, who will now take you through it. And I'm going to apologize in advance. I do have to take pictures. It is a requirement for the final report. It's not that I'm egotistical, it's required.
Hi, everybody. So here to help me with it, presenting the website and whatnot is Kevin. So here you are, we're at the township website. So if you scan the QR code, it will take you to Delaware Township, the main page. No, my apologies, it will not take you there, it will take you elsewhere. If you go to the Delaware Township website, then if you want, you can go down to the Recreation Commission link. Then if you scroll down, there's a brand new button on the website that says Public Access Open Spaces. You click on that. That's the page the QR code will take you to. So what's nice about this is there are sort of basically three elements to this page. There's the map of the open access, of the open public access. If you click on that, it shows you with a color-coded legend the land in town that is publicly accessible. It's either the parks, preservation and preserved farmlands and open spaces that use public funds, and also a couple of historic sites in town. So unfortunately, our website doesn't allow us to make it a clickable map. So the best we could do was to then assign numbers to each of those locations. So if you're a visual person and you want to see in town whereabouts to go, you can make a note in your head, oh, okay, maybe I want to go look at, number 15. So you have to take yourself back to the page, so you can do a back button or it can take you there. And then you'll see there's a whole listing by number of all of the spaces. So if you click on number 15, you'll see it says Central Preserve. The first one shows you just the 15 through 20 is actually, it's all NJCF preserve lands. But then if you go down a little bit further and click on Central Preserve, drop down, that's the best part. That shows you parking. It gives you a number of locations associated with the preserve. As Kathy alluded, first of all, there's GPS code. So you can punch in GPS to get there if you like. Secondarily, if you would rather just measure by mile, you go to Pine Hill Road, and it tells you that it's a little less than 1/10 of a mile from the intersection of Route 604 on the left, just after the bridge. We try to be as descriptive as possible as to where you could actually park your car and park it safely. Then, if you go down just a little bit further,
Sorry.
That's okay. A little further, you'll see things like a note. In this area, there happens to be very limited cell service. Actually, for most of the other spaces, cell service is fine, but in this particular one, there is limited cell service. But then what we tried to do was also identify the highlights, why you might want to go and visit the Central Preserve. It talks about the trails through the Wickeecheokee Creek. It tells you it's forest. It tells you it's grassland. It tells you there's a particularly interesting stand of beech trees. It will tell you that there's a nice pathway with a place where you can sit down on the bench. It will also tell you watch your step, because if the river or if the creek is high, you may not want to go out on that particular trail. So we tried to give you a little bit of sense of what to expect, but then there are links usually to a trail map, and also a link to a website. So there you can click on the trail map. It gives you an actual detailed map that has been generated. Most of these maps have been generated by NJCF or by Land Trust or the state or what have you. So, in all deference to our township attorney, there's no liability associated with whether the trail is right or wrong.
Yeah.
But be that as it may, it's kind of helpful, it's fun. And then further down, if you go back to site 15, it also says website. And if you click on the website, that will take you right away to the New Jersey Conservation site, where they're going to have obviously a great deal more information and so on. There are a number of disclaimers, because I unfortunately am also a lawyer.
We love disclaimers.
So, Kevin, if you can go all the way down to the bottom of the page, we did have disclaimers, like for instance, there might be hunting allowed. Please check. Pay attention. Pay attention if the water's high. Pay attention whether or not, maybe you should wear bright colors if you look at for instance, I believe the Locaton Preserve allows hunting. So just pay attention. So we tried very hard to point those types of things out. I believe also at the very top of the site, there's also a note that says things that says hunting activities may be allowed. Please be very careful. Please check rules and regulations associated with each location. That we don't own these, we don't govern them, we don't control them. We're just providing a resource so that people can learn about them. And then the last thing is above. It says click here to view photos. Again, as Kathy sort of noted, a lot of these places can be a little hard to find where you park. She and her husband Michael spent ages and ages going to these places and taking photographs. So you can then, again, by number, for instance, number 15, this number 15 is even broken down into 15A, B, C, D, E, because you'll recall there were a number of specific locations associated with number 15 and the Central Preserve. So we have parking spots identified for all 5 of the specific locations associated with number 15. And the fabulous looking silver car there. So we hope that, we try to make it as expansive as possible. Obviously, if there are errors, one of the things we actually already realized is we do have to correct a couple of GPS locations, but, we're doing our best. We hope you like it. We hope the township appreciates it. I mean, the township residents appreciate it and take advantage of it. And I think that's about it for the website. So now I will turn it over to Steve.
Thank you. Well, it was a real pleasure to work on this project, and we had enough money left in our grant to do this great sign. So it's very similar to the postcard.
It's upside down.
Oh, I'm sorry. Anyway, so our plan is to, we have a pressure treated post, it'll be mounted at a 45-degree angle. Our plan is to hopefully, our suggestion is to put it across the street, maybe just to the left of the benches. I thought that would be a good spot, obviously. Sure. And again, it has the QR code as well, so you can scan everything. We would like to have formal ribbon cutting. The township committee's feeling is about that. Maybe invite representatives of Sustainable Jersey as well to come out. So if we can schedule something, we think that would be nice. And absolutely. Just hopefully call on DPW to just mount the post. We appreciate it.
More work.
So we just need permission or an identification of agreed upon location, right?
Well, yes.
I mean, if they're okay
Suggestion.
with the suggestion.
Committee okay with the president's I think that's what it's there for, so.
Okay, I mean, the benches are going to be there, we figure just to the left of the benches.
I think it makes sense. So, thank you.
Okay, thank you.
And everyone who. Great job. It looks fantastic.
Well, serious shout out to Kathy because she did
Good job, Kathy.
the real hard work. Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, Kathy. Thank you. Okay, moving on to new business. Acknowledging resignation of Chris Rose, who is our plumbing subcode official. Moving on to bigger and better things. Thank you for your service, Mr. Rose. We're now going to, if I could get a motion to open up for public comment, and this can be on any topic of your pleasing. We're going to limit it once again to 3 minutes per individual. If I can have that motion.
I'll make that motion.
I'll second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Okay, the floor is yours for anyone who wishes to make a comment.
Chad Weber, Township resident. I actually made notes this time, so I know what I'm talking about. First of all, the efforts of the Open Space Commission were awesome in putting this together. This is a great addition to the recreation opportunities for people in Delaware Township. And when will a copy of Resolution 2024-11 be available for residents to view prior to the July 8th public hearing?
The ordinance 2024-11? When are they typically available down here? Tomorrow.
Okay, where do we obtain that?
At the clerk's office.
Okay, so I can just come and get a copy from you, I don't need Oprah? Okay, super, thanks so much.
Any other comments?
I will also say thank you to the open space team. It's awesome. Oh, just stop. It's great. I'm hoping as part of the rec team that we can get the kids involved and do a little passport so they can all check it out. I was wondering, I know you're not going to talk back to me now, but can you tell me some more information about 2024-10 and the maintenance on non-abandoned properties? Like we're trying to put in ordinances to make sure that people maintain their properties to a certain level, or there are going to be fines if they're not. And I also wanted to put in a request to start mowing Dilts, the total perimeter, including reamer track, cane property, so that people can hike the entire distance of all the property that we own. And that's it. Thank you.
Thank you. Sir.
My name is John Markzdebski. I'm Township President. I am the president of the Friends of the Locktown Stone Church. And I want to thank the committee for providing a chemical toilet for our Stonehouse concert series this summer. We just had our second very successful concert. We're going to have another one on July the 7th. This one will be pretty exciting because it's klezmer music. probably only been played in the township one time before, in 2018, when we had the same band perform at the church. But I just also wanted to say that we are embarked on a program to build an improvement, a visitors amenities building at the church. And we are partners together in this venture because of the prevailing wage issue that has come up rather late in the game from my perspective. I'm a grant administrator. The Grant Administrator's Manual from the New Jersey Historic Trust on page 3.5 says, prevailing wage rules do not apply to nonprofit organizations, period. I hung my hat on that sentence. Well, found out that that sentence was wrong, or perhaps regulation has bypassed this manual and the organization never updated the manual. The bottom line is the Locktown Stone Church has a wetlands permit which requires that we finish our ground disturbance by December 17th, 2025. And the clock, it was a 5-year permit. It took us this long to get every other thing in place. We thought we were ready to file for building permits. We have permission to file for building permits, but we haven't done so. And we're now in a bureaucratic process for developing an administrative mechanism to interface between the church and the township itself. I just wanted to appear, look you all in the eye and say, I'm here to help. And I want to produce anything that you need as soon as you need it. And I published my phone number, and give me a call. I'm retired, I can just do whatever the heck I want. And
What does that feel like?
I highly recommend it. It took me about 1.5 years to adjust to it, but I do highly recommend it. And with that, I'm down to 8 seconds. I want to thank you all for putting up with me. And again, you've got my phone number. Thank you very much.
Great, thank you. Sir?
Hi guys, Mario Russo, resident. Just wanted to come up and thank you guys. Since our last meeting, I know we talked about a few things, Justin, specifically the DPW at the park, because they hit everything that we needed. We just had our end of year softball tournament. It went really successful. Without the help of you guys getting the weeds sprayed and the volunteers and the parents, it wouldn't have happened. But thank you, and thank you guys for the support as well. Coming down and seeing what we were talking about and looking at it. So really appreciate your guys' support. It made for a great season. We're wrapping up on Saturday, but I know we talked about some things for the fall, so looking forward to the same thing. Thank you guys.
Thank you. Anybody else? Going once, going twice? If we can get a motion and a second to close public hearing. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Okay. Township committee comments. Dave?
Just, again, great job on this, and thanks for everyone working on it. Thanks, Kathy, and everyone else.
Okay, I will try to address all of the comments made from the two public hearings. And I guess I'll start with Mr. Wiley's comment regarding the ordinance regarding Phillips Park. So the way that the ordinance stands now, I understand the amount that is listed on the ordinance might be a sticker shock to someone, but if you look at the various mechanisms that we have behind it in order to fund that particular project, we have a lot of money coming through, hopefully coming from grants. We have compiled 3 years worth of open space tax receipts that total the amount of $80,000 per year, and will go into perpetuity as long as the open space tax remains effective. We also have county money that we receive every year, and it's approximate amount of $30,000. we have a bunch of grants that we haven't utilized, or we were already awarded but haven't spent them yet. And when we combine all those things together, we have approximately $750,000 that can go towards that $2 million price tag for the Dills Park improvements. So that leaves us with having to fund for roughly $1.3 million in monies to fund for the project. However, if we roll notes, we actually had a meeting with our financial committee and financial advisor who offers suggestions on how to best for a municipality to finance a particular debt. He suggested that we utilize notes for the first 3 years, which is interest only. The monies and tax receipts from the open space funds are more than enough to pay the interest on the notes for the first 3 years. So there is no impact to the budget or the general budget for the township, for the park for the first 3 years. And then we will go to bond, or perhaps if the interest rate environment goes down enough, we'll continue to roll notes going forward if the interest rate declines. But we could then, if the interest rates aren't low enough to do that, we could go to bond, which allows us to amortize over a 20-year period, but does include the payment of principal plus the interest for those 20 years. Which, when we take a look at the impact per resident in an average home of $400,000 here in the township of Delaware, it would result in an $18 increase in your taxes each year for the next 20 years. We're talking about significant improvements to a park that is not ADA compliant. We want to make it ADA compliant. We have bathrooms that are in dire need of restoration. We have a snack shack that frankly should not pass health inspection. I don't know who the health inspector is, but he's letting us go. It's ridiculous. The walking trails, they're going to be paved, but using a porous pavement so that there is no impact on rainwater runoff, etc. That would enable someone with a wheelchair or something along that to enjoy the park and all the beauty that it offers. The playground would be ADA compliant. All the fields would be safer for our children to be able to play. And I think it's just a great place. I was down there with Mr. Russo on Saturday, and it was just a wonderful place to see people of our community gathering and having a wonderful time. And the only other things I'd like to talk about is simply the tennis court is a disaster. It's just a liability waiting to happen. And frankly, if this ordinance doesn't pass, I think we have to recommend, I'm going to have to recommend to the committee that we close the tennis courts, because someone's going to hurt themselves, and it's going to be the township's responsibility. And frankly, the basketball court isn't that far behind. The only new thing that we're funding down there is pickleball. And I know pickleball is an issue that causes some division, but from all that I've heard, as long as we're able to mitigate the sound, which I have suggested that this committee would adhere to finding a way to properly mitigate the sound that would be coming from the pickleball courts. And I weigh that against the amazing amount of people that have come and said, I can't wait to play pickleball. I have to go all the way to Soulbury to play pickleball. My daughter said she wants to play pickleball. I have no idea. I didn't even know she knew what it was. But anyway, she's excited about it. That is the only new object, the only new activity that would be down there. The rest of it is just making it safe and ADA compliant. And frankly, I think that's just a great way for this township to spend money because it's for a great thing, and it really doesn't have that much of a significant impact on everyone's taxes. So anyway, I hope that answers your question. Obviously, public comment or public hearings next week. I look forward to your feedback in respect to the ordinance. Next, I'd like to discuss Jess, 2024-10. That was the, let me see here. That was,
Maintenance of non-abandoned properties.
I'm trying to remember.
The maintenance of the non-abandoned properties.
Right, so if you can,
Yeah, the amendment,
know some legal.
is probably not what you might think it is from the title. Because we've had conversations in the past about unkept grass, and my guess is that you thought there might have been a change in position on that. That's not the case. In speaking with DPW, you identified certain areas where sight lines have been obstructed by property owners who have not maintained their property. Without an ordinance, the township doesn't have the legal authority to enter the private property and to remediate the obstruction of the intersection. So in order to give the DPW the ability to do that, we need to amend the ordinance, which everything else is the same except it had only addressed abandoned property. So now if you are not maintaining your property where it's obstructing a sight triangle or a sight view and it's posing a health or safety risk to residents, DPW will contact the property owner, advising them of the situation, giving them an amount of time, I think it's 10 days, to rectify it. If it's not done in 10 days, DPW can go onto the property without further notice. They can do the remediation. Whatever the cost is, they would have to present it to the township committee to certify the cost. Then that becomes a lien on the property, just like an unpaid tax. So that at the end, the taxpayers are not paying for any of the cost of the person who's not maintaining the property. But that's the sole purpose for this ordinance.
Okay, thank you.
Yep.
I got a question about that. We got some people on some of these roads, Yard Road for one, that have got plantings right in our right of way. And everybody just leaves them. The road department leaves them, left them for all these years, and they've grown way out the road. Of course, the guy hoots and hollers if you mow them. But we've got the right to mow them, correct?
I would need to know exactly what you mean by right of way and where we're talking about. I know that the
Well,
specific
the right
areas
is the
that.
road, so I know the road is, you got so many feet of right of way, and it's.
But
You'd have to look at it on the map.
Yes, those right-of-ways that you're talking about, from the center of the road out,
Right.
typically it's not for maintenance of sight triangles, it's if the township needs to widen the road. So therein lies the problem. That's why we're doing this ordinance, so that right-of-way does not give the township the legal right to go in and maintain for sight triangles. This ordinance will. This is the condition preceding, if you will, to allow us to take that next step.
So the township can go mow these off?
No, right now they cannot.
I don't understand.
Yeah.
Okay.
After the ordinance gets passed.
Right, not until the ordinance gets, I will say this, after, our public hearing is when? After July?
Oh, okay.
After-
After the ordinance is passed, they can do it?
100%, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Yeah,
All right.
By-
Very good, that's all
yes.
we need.
Yeah, by the middle of July, DPW will be ready to go.
Okay, very good, thank you.
And we've already worked with Justin, he has the letter for the residents, we're all ready to go.
Okay, we got a few of those, okay.
Yeah, we
Thank
do.
you very much for the information.
Next, Jesse, Dilts Park mowing. I would just ask if you get it mowed, to follow the trail that was originally in place. Because I know there were some residents that we backed off of their property. Some, I would like to maintain that if possible.
Why?
Simply because it's just being good to the residents, and I think,
I think it minimizes the amount of space that the public can use, and then it also cuts into what the farmer is farming, and it's not their property, and I get it, they're gonna come here and complain, but it's not their property, it's our property.
And I'm sorry, I'm gonna have to tell you, you can't talk while I'm talking, so I apologize, because we can have a conversation later about that, so,
Okay.
I would just, if we could please stick with that. And then finally, Mr. Sadepski, I had a conversation with Diane about this, and it's not that from a fact that we don't want to help the Locktown Stone Church. It's simply because Diane only has so much bandwidth. And I think, you know, we're talking about a tremendous project that needs to be accomplished, but Diane has a full-time job here in the township, frankly, putting together this plan for Diltz Park, which is an immense project. What we need to do is somehow work together to see if there's some way that we can tackle this, either by taking a look at third-party options. I don't even know if is that an availability, to hire someone to do a special project?
We're gonna have this, we're gonna have a discussion, executive session.
Okay, all right, so if you don't mind, I'm gonna table this until, I'll give you a call and let you know where we stand.
When I can talk to you, I will.
Okay, understood, thank you. I believe I hit all the questions.
You did.
I did, okay. My handwriting, or my notes are better than I thought they would be, so thank you. Okay, we are now, I need a motion and a second to go to executive session. Second. All those in favor? Aye. Aye. Thank you everyone for coming out this evening.
No.